played for 11 years in the NFL. Bengals, Seahawks, Ravens, Raiders. The former Oregon Stater. They're looking for a football coach. TJ Houshmandzadeh joins us. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Let's start with what's happening with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. And, I mean, if you go looked at Russell Wilson's passer ratings, they're all great except last year where he was like Desmond Ridder. So, the reality is Hackett was over his skis. It happens. Half the quarterbacks in the first round bust. Coaches bust. Is this a Sean Payton story or a Russell Wilson story?
It's a little bit of both, but a lot of Sean Payton more than Russell Wilson. I mean, the player has to go out there and play. So you give me the best game plan in the world. If I don't execute it, is it really the best game plan?
Right.
And so, but Sean Payton has proven year after year after year that he's a great coach because look at the Saints now. And so when he was at the Saints, they're very, very good.
Well, the Chargers.
Banging their head on the wall right now, regretting that. Because Sean Payton is a fantastic coach. Last year, everybody was, Russell Wilson. I don't know if Russell Wilson is washed. Russell Wilson can't play anymore. Russell Wilson looks good now. They're winning games.
One thing changed. They got their left tackle back and a new coach.
The coach is the biggest reason why. Russell Wilson understands what he wants. Nathaniel Hackett, no disrespect, but he hasn't had success as an offensive coordinator. Yeah, when Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, and I'd probably be a great offensive coordinator with Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback. But when you look, when he was in Jacksonville, Nathaniel Hackett, his offenses weren't very good. When he went to Denver, Russell Wilson looked like he was done. Nobody with the New York Jets can play quarterback. Is it really all the quarterbacks or is it Hackett? And so Sean Payton has done a hell of a job with Russell Wilson. His confidence is back because Russell Wilson is always going to say the right things, but I'm sure after last year, he took a hit in his confidence, his self-belief. And so to have Sean Payton come back and restore that or come in there and restore that, that's good for him.
So in Los Angeles, the Chargers are not a big brand, but on Monday, Sports Talk Radio in the city, they're always the discussion because with Sean McVay manufacturing wins with a rebuild roster, they now have more wins than the Chargers, who have an elite receiver, quarterback, left tackle, center, pass rushers. What do you do? Do you think players will always say it's not the coach's fault, but when the losses start adding up, do you think guys in that room have turned after last night?
They're frustrated. It's frustration when you have the talent that they have.
You can see it.
It's frustrating. Like Keenan Allen fumbles, you're like, oh, best player. Austin Eckler fumbles, you're like, oh. It's like the defense finally plays a really good game, and the offense is giving the ball. They have 4 turnovers. A team that didn't turn the ball over much going into this game, and they turn it over 4 times. And you're playing Jalen Guyton and Erickson at receiver. Like, I know these guys, but the majority of people don't know these guys. Who are these guys? You draft Quentin Johnson in the first round.
Can't play right now.
And you benched them. Like, you benched. And so they're missing on guys at positions that they really need. And so Herbert is having to do so much. Like, when you go to the last drive, that cover 0, you see it's coming. You know it's coming. Change the protection. Slide everybody to the left so at least you can pick it up because it really wasn't 0. They dropped the guy back. So it could have been picked up. And it's just so many things going on that the defense finally plays well. The offense doesn't.
Would you fire him? Give Kellen Moore 6 games, 5 games?
At this point, you probably have to go in a different direction because the message isn't being received.
It's almost like I'd like to see in some of these situations with defensive coaches, and I think this is one of them. Let's see what Kellen Moore can do. You're out of the playoff picture. I mean, it feels like you're on the outside looking in now.
It's tough for the Chargers. Their schedule isn't easy down the stretch. And now these next 3 games, they're winnable. They're winnable. It's just when you continue to lose close games year after year, game after game, that's a problem. They're losing close games. Yesterday could have been a 1-possession game. And it's the story of the Chargers season the last couple years. We play it close, the game is close, but we're going to find a way to lose.
Yeah. So you start looking, and they're not a big big story, Carolina. They fire their coach. Since 2018, I don't know what the number is. They've had 6 or 7 coaches if you count interim. So you were with Cincinnati, and for years, even though they were dysfunctional, you had one coach, Marvin Lewis. And so I had said that for years. You had Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis for a long time. And you don't have to love it, but there is something to be said about continuity. And so if you ever been in between the Bengals, Seahawks, Ravens, Raiders, Carolina now feels like the Raiders did about 6 years ago. You're like, I'm not even sure do they count as an NFL franchise. What do you think the players inside of Carolina feel today? So they just fired Rule. Now they fire Reich. Have you ever been in a locker room that you as a player, you can't concentrate? It's such a circus.
You're wondering what's going on. What I will say is this. The owner wants to win so bad that he's making terrible decisions. Like, he wants to win so bad, and he thinks he's doing his team and organization, he's doing the right thing, and he isn't. The Carolina Panthers aren't a good team. They don't have the weapons. When you trade DJ Moore and you draft a quarterback number 1, who's he going to throw the ball to?
Well, I said this. We always knock the Chicago Bears who play tonight. But what they did, they said, we have Justin Fields. We don't know if he's it, but we're going to give him a fair shot. What did they do? They went and got DJ Moore.
Claypool,
a second tight end. They also, a lot of draft capital on the O-line. So their takeaway, and they gave up Roquan Smith. Well, they knew Roquan Smith was great. He is great. He's probably the second best linebacker in football. But their takeaway was, we got to make sure that if Justin Fields doesn't work, we give him a shot. And that's why I've been harder on Justin Fields. Dude, you've got some players now. Why I defend Bryce Young is Mingo's a 3. Maybe they don't have anybody. Chuba Hubbard's a nice back, and not special.
You know what it is too, Colin? D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud.
So that's what J-Mac said.
D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud have put pressure on the Frank Reich and the Carolina Panthers he's doing this. Bryce was a consensus. Everybody would have drafted Bryce number 1, including the Texans. Everybody would have drafted Bryce number 1.
Yeah.
And to see what D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud have done with the Houston Texans, it's like, wait. And you'll say, oh, he has weapons. Really? Really? When did Nico Collins become a weapon before C.J. Stroud? When did Noah Brown become a weapon before C.J. Stroud? Tank Dell is a rookie that you could have drafted, and you didn't. And so, yeah, they're good weapons now, but CJ has made them better weapons. And so if you're the Panthers, if you're a coach, you're not going to the Carolina Panthers. Not a coach that has options.
That's right.
Why would I go there to possibly be fired in a year and uproot my family? You're just not going to do it. So they'll get a coach that has no options.
Okay, so I want to shift to college football because you've always been great on this. So Pac-12 championship, here's my take. Michigan, Oregon, and Georgia are the best teams in the country.
In that order?
No, I think Oregon's the best.
Okay, I'm with you with Oregon. I think Oregon's the best.
So do I.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not saying this as a West Coast guy. I've watched them live twice. Listen, that game they lost in Seattle, they outplayed the Huskies. I don't know who was winning that game. At that point, Georgia wasn't as good as Georgia's gotten better. Maybe Michigan wins that game, but I was there. You couldn't hear yourself think. It was a zoo, and Oregon came down to a field goal. I mean, they outplayed them for portions in that game. And so I think Oregon, Michigan, and Georgia are the 3 best teams. Who would you put for? So I take out Florida State because they're on a backup quarterback. I think Ohio State's the 4th best team, but I think the best win is Texas at Bama, so Texas gets in. I don't think Alabama's that great. And again, if Texas beats Oklahoma State, I think you have to put them in, don't you?
I would go with Ohio State. I would, because Texas has had a lot of close calls this year. Ohio State lost a close game against a very good Michigan team in Ann Arbor. And so me personally, I believe if Ohio State and Texas played, Ohio State would win.
No, I feel the same way. I think Ohio State's the 4th best team in the country. Absolutely. And I feel they would I really do believe that they would handle Florida State, Bama, and Texas, and you would watch that game, and there would be no question.
Yeah, Florida State with them losing if the quarterback hadn't gotten hurt,
That's
Florida State would be in there.
Yes.
But with the quarterback hurt.
So let me ask you this. So here's my other theory, that getting the number 1 seed in a 14 playoff is huge. We go to the 12-team playoff next year. Nobody wants to play Georgia, Oregon first. You want to be the number 1 seed and get Florida State or Alabama. And I'm going to make this argument, that Michigan going 6-0 without Harbaugh is not a weakness. I don't think less of Michigan. I think more of Michigan. I don't think Texas goes 11-1 without Sark. Bama doesn't have 1 loss only without Saban. I don't think Washington's undefeated without Kalen DeBoer. If you can win 6 times, you can go to Penn State and beat Ohio State without Harbaugh. That is a great team.
That's such a – what Harbaugh, the culture that he's established at Michigan, to do that, no other team in the country can do that. Nick Saban is not with Alabama.
They're not beating Auburn.
They're not winning these games. And Harbaugh is an offensive guy. And for them to do what they've done, his coaches, you got to give them a ton of credit, but you got to give Harbaugh a ton of credit for the culture that he's built. But, yeah, I think Oregon is the best team. Oregon is going to punish Washington this Friday in the Pac-12 championship. They have – Bo Nix looks really good. Looked like he couldn't play in Auburn, but he looks like he's going to be a first-rounder at Oregon. Troy Franklin and Rome Odunze, both of those receivers, one for Oregon, the other from Washington, will be battling to see who's going to be the second receiver drafted to me in this draft. Both of those guys can really, really play. Troy Franklin doesn't get the recognition that this dude can play. He can really play.
You've seen him play in high school.
This dude, he's 6'2.5", can run, got good suddenness, really good quickness. Kid can play.
Do you know anybody that played under Harbaugh? You know anybody in your career?
No, but I played under John. And I like playing under John so much, I'm just like, your brother got to be cool. I used to talk to him about this. And I don't know Jim, but I played under John, and I follow football. Like, I love football. I love football. And so he's been a great coach everywhere. He was at Stanford. You couldn't win at Stanford.
They were 0-12. They went winless, which is I think they went winless one year, which is virtually impossible as a Power 5 team.
They were solid with Tyrone Willingham, and then they fell off.
Right.
Harbaugh comes in, and he's sending all these tight ends and all these offensive linemen to the National Football League.
They beat Pete Carroll as a 40-point dog in the Coliseum.
He's a good coach. That's just everywhere he goes, you give him some time, get his guys in there, get the team constructed the way he wants, they win. I mean, you look at the 49ers. As soon as he left, they fell off. They're back now, but they fell off, and they were terrible when he got the Niners.
People forget what a mess Michigan was. The stadium was a third empty. I mean, Michigan Stadium has been full my whole life.
He's a good coach. He's a good coach.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.